visions. I've seen it in my manifestation. I'm sleeping this guy and going to create the most viral knockout ever. We're sparring, you know.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some 8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm going to beat your ass. And I'm going to beat Jaden Love. And my mama, I'm going to beat both y'all ass.
For them.
Will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were like to beat him or even like knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
Gervonta Tank Davis just erupted after Jake Paul boldly claimed he'd knock him out in only 3 rounds. A statement that instantly ignited the fight world. This isn't just trash talk. It's a spark that's turned into a wildfire. For Davis, a 3-division world champion, the stakes couldn't be higher. Critics call a mismatch, but insiders know one wrong move, one slip, and everything he's built could crumble. Yet if Davis conquers the size, the power, and the hype surrounding Jake Paul, it could become the defining moment of his career. The knockout that rewrites boxing history.
This is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks,
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion in multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jim, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't?
Jake Paul isn't backing down. He's promising nothing less than the knockout of the year. Not a simple win, but viral moment that will echo across every screen and headline. He's not fighting for validation. He's fighting to etch his name into the story of modern boxing. To Jake, this isn't a gamble, it's destiny. Every punch he throws on fight night is meant to silence the critics, shock the world, and prove that he's more than just a name from YouTube. He's a force that refuses to be ignored.
Because this thing is going to be watched by hundreds of millions globally. Jake, give the people one thing that you can guarantee that they're going to get on November 14th when they tune in to Netflix.
Yeah, you're going to see the 2 biggest fighters in America go head-to-head with an amazing card. World championship fights back to back. And that's just how the MVP way we do it. And I'm going to come for a knockout of the year again. I've seen it in my visions. I've seen it in my manifestation. I'm sleeping this guy and going to create the most viral knockout ever.
Raleigh Romero added his voice to the storm, reminding everyone that even if Jake Paul somehow drops Tank Davis, it wouldn't erase what Davis has already built. The man is a 3-division world champion, a decorated fighter whose legacy runs deep in the veins of boxing. One fight doesn't define greatness, consistency does. Romero's words cut through the noise, making it clear that true champions are remembered not for the punches they take, but for the eras they dominate.
You can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them.
Will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were like to beat him or even like knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him. Bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them. It's the same way Roach feels Tank is the best option for him. Same way that Stevenson thinks Tank's the best option for him, or like all this stuff, right? At the end of it, bro, we just want to do what's best for ourselves, right?
Facts.
Right or wrong?
Facts.
So just do what's best for you.
Daniel Cormier's reaction said it all. Shock, disbelief, and a hint of curiosity. To him, this fight feels like chaos wrapped in spectacle. Davis, a world-class fighter at 135 pounds, stepping into the ring against a man nearly 70 pounds heavier. It sounds absurd, but that absurdity is exactly why the world will watch. If Tank pulls this off, it's not just a win. It's a miracle forged under the brightest lights, a moment that will make even skeptics bow in respect.
But like, Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know. Like I said, like, or it's an exhibition. We don't know if they know at each other or not, or we don't know. I don't know. I can't give an opinion because I don't know what's going on.
Do you think it impacts, like, will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were, like, to beat him or even, like, knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
ASI didn't hold back, blasting the influencer boxing wave for turning combat into entertainment theater. But in truth, that's exactly what keeps fans watching. The hype, the build-up, the chaos. Jake Paul has mastered all. In a sport that once lived only in smoke-filled arenas, Paul has turned boxing into a digital spectacle seen by millions. Love him or hate him, he's rewriting how this game is played, and every fight he touches becomes an event no one dares to miss.
I was on a plane coming home from Las Vegas when Luis told me Gervonta Davis is fighting Jake Paul. I said, get the bleep out of here. I said, you're a bleep liar. Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. There's one problem. He fights at 135 pounds. Gervonta Davis is that much better than Jake Paul at boxing. But Gervonta Davis in his last fight weighed 133.8 pounds. And I'm not over here in the business of just crapping on Jake Paul. I am much more respectful of what he's starting to build as a professional boxer. You're fighting a guy that's better than you. He's just much smaller. But that guy, because he's better than you, what if he wins? Everything Jake Paul has done is wiped completely out. Gervonta Davis loses to Jake Paul. Obviously, it's going to hurt who Gervonta Davis is. But he lost to a guy that's going to be upwards of 70 pounds bigger than him when he steps into the boxing ring. But I will tell you this right now, without a shadow of a doubt, I will watch this. Tank Davis is 30-0-1. You want to talk about Jake Paul fighting a real boxer? That's a real boxer. You can't make this stuff up, man. It's true. They're fighting.
Journalist Gareth A. Davies called it what it is, a circus fight dressing glamour. To him, boxing's balance of respect and rivalry is fading under the glare of spectacle. Yet, behind his words lies an uncomfortable truth. The sport is evolving. The world isn't just watching for belts anymore. It's watching for stories, for the drama, for the clash of two worlds, the seasoned warrior versus the self-made gladiator. In this chaos, boxing finds its newest evolution.
And Jake was never gonna happen.
I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
You thought it was actually gonna happen? Bro, it's so crazy. Like, I feel like so many people just believe everything.
But that's pretty unbelievable on the other hand.
I feel like I know. Well, okay, how do I say like this? Itoma versus White. I had a lot of people bet on White winning. And I'm there like, you guys don't watch boxing, do you? You just look at a record and go, oh, Dylan's fought many more people than Itoma. That record says a lot. Itoma's like 18, not 18, Itoma's 20, inexperienced, one. Like, I just knew Itoma was gonna just destroy him. And I think a good fight for Itoma would be him.
Tank Davis himself has admitted it. Jake Paul's size, reach, and unpredictable movement worry him. He knows he's facing something different this time. But fear is fuel for greats. Tank's plan is simple: adapt, endure, and explode when it matters most. He's not walking into that ring to survive. He's walking in to remind everyone why he's built for legacy, not for hype. November 14th isn't just a fight. It's a collision between power and precision, between the viral and the verified.
I think we've gone out of the frying pan and into the fire because we thought we were going to get Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua very soon. We'll speak to Frank Smith about that in the next section, obviously. Eddie Hearn was teasing it to me personally last week. £80 million on the table for Anthony Joshua to fight Jake Paul. But 8 inches in height difference, 7 weight divisions between them, 5 stone, 70 pounds between them. It's a joke. It's a circus fight as opposed to a disgrace of a fight, which was Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. At least you feel in this you've got quite a poor, very big one against a pound-for-pound, brilliant, unbeaten little un. And the little un who'll come up to his navel will hit him with a lot of body shots. I said in the week to Danny Kelly and Charlie Brooker that, do I mean Charlie Brooker? No, Baker. Charlie Baker. That Charlie Brooker's a different person altogether. That he'll be throwing the Superman punch, the leaping left hook. It's going to be a very odd thing. It's called, in inverted commas, an exhibition bout. But everybody in boxing who is a name doesn't mind going in with Jake Paul because they know they're making millions of dollars. And that's the only reason that Gervonta Davis, who's being called the poison little elf by Jake Paul, it'll be fun in the build-up. Everybody in boxing knows they're guaranteed to make millions of those silverbacks, those greenback notes that they give out in America, and they give them out for fun when Jake Paul fights. So he's not going to say no to it. But can you pick a winner in that?
Supporters of this matchup see something bigger. A new age of boxing born from the internet generation. Jake Paul brings in millions of fans who never cared about boxing before, and Tank Davis represents the old guard. Raw talent, real fights, real legacy. Together, they become the bridge between tradition and transformation. It's not just about who wins. It's about what this fight means to the future of the sport.
4 years in the making, when a fairly novice Jake Paul made a wish list of future opponents, and right in the middle of that list was Gervonta Tank Davis. Many laughed at the time, and some still can't believe we're here. But these two young men are the face of boxing for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They are the two biggest boxers in America, and they're putting it all on the line. One has the speed, the skill, the accuracy, and the one-punch knockout power. The other has the size, the force, and the unbreakable confidence to make this must-see Netflix.
Does Jake Paul have that concerns you? What concern me? His power. You gotta test his power. Gotta test his just everything, to be honest. I never been in the ring with Jake, so I could say a lot, but when it comes down to November the 14th, I gotta be in there with him. I gotta be able to, his arm reach, his size, his power, the way he moving and things like that. I just gotta adapt, as I fight.
It's been 4 years since Jake Paul scribbled Tank Davis's name onto a wish list of dream opponents. Back then, the idea was laughable. Now it's reality. Two of America's biggest names, two empires of influence, finally colliding on one night. One man carries championship legacy, the other cultural dominance. This isn't just another boxing match. It's the battle for the soul of a generation.
Jake and Tank are gonna happen November 14th.
Whatever weight they want, man, they're talking about it, and whatever it is, it's gonna be a definitive outcome. People can talk about pro, exhibition. We're gonna make sure this is as real as it's real.
Why was it, just out of curiosity, why is it not a professional bout and why is it an exhibition? Because I'm sure Jake would have taken the professional bout.
Nothing's been communicated as yet in terms of what it is, right? Similar to, if you remember with Paul Tyson, when we announced it, we didn't have the weight, we didn't have the rules, particularly in terms of the number of rounds, the minutes, the gloves. It's gonna be the same thing here.
Gotcha. Can you just offer us any insight as to how these negotiations went? The reason I ask is because I remember back in March, I was at Tank's fight, and after his fight, in his press conference, he was asked, next opponent. He said, well, my next opponent might have been in my locker room tonight. And people asked him, was it Jake? He made reference, he made allusion to. Has this been an ongoing thing? And has it ever, been at a point where it wasn't gonna happen, it came back, or was this always the plan?
Always been the plan for Jake to fight Tank once Canelo didn't happen. And to Tank's credit, he is a real bad dude, and he's been calling out Jake for 3 years. And people, it's funny how now they're saying size matters, Jake is big, and for so long it's been Tank would kill Jake Paul. Now you get to see if that's real.
Nikki Sabadarian, the man behind the scenes, says this fight was always destiny. When the Canelo deal collapsed, the path was clear, Tank versus Jake. And now it's not just a fight, it's a global event. Weight, rules, and gloves are just details. What really matters is a clash of hunger versus heritage. Bidarian insists that Davis's skill will outweigh Paul's size. That experience will conquer raw power. The world will soon find out if that's true or just another bold claim destined for the highlight reels.
Don't ever fight no Shakur Stevenson, no Keyshawn Davis, no Teofimo Lopez, no none of them dudes. You know what I'm talking about? We gotta think and look at Tank Davis's whole career. He done made some bread, but at the end of the day, all that bread that he made, when it's all said and done, he ain't gonna get no respect from his peers, because we gonna look down his resume and we gonna be like, he was trash, he was some trash, he was some trash, he was alright, but he was never like that. He was okay, he was some trash, he was some trash, he ain't did nothing. Hey, that's just what it's gonna be at the end.
Critics say Davis is chasing paydays instead of glory, skipping dangerous rivals for spectacle of Jake Paul. But those words fade when you look at his record. Undefeated, decorated, and devastating in every fight. Tank has earned his respect, and no circus match can strip it away. In an era where attention equals power, Davis is playing the game on his terms, and winning.
Never give me credit until I have the world championship belt, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. You know, but belts collect dust, and what I've done in the sport is unprecedented. Never will be replicated, and done it in such a short amount of time, just getting warmed up. They're not going to give me credit. I don't need the credit from these bozos, to be honest. The credit's in my bank account.
Jake Paul fires back with defiance. He doesn't care about belts or tradition. He's already made history his own way. In just a few short years, he's done what others take decades to accomplish. Massive pay-per-views, iconic knockouts, and moments that shook the sport to its core. To Paul, validation doesn't come from trophies. It comes from the roar of the crowd and the millions who tune in to watch him break the rules and rewrite them at the same time.
Anytime, any place, against all odds. And I like my odds. First, I'm going to kill David. Then I will go on to slaughter Goliath. Okay, so you have to think that the last one, first I'm going to kill David, referring to Gervonta Davis, and then he's going to go on and slay Goliath, referring to Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. And
he's going to go and fight a 140er, and then move up 135er, and then move up and fight a heavyweight.
So the lowest he's been, I went through all the fights, for his first two fights, his first two pro fights, he was 175. Now this is all the way back in 2020 against Nate Robinson. Since then, the lowest he's been, as you said, was like the 185 around the Nate Diaz fight, and also for Tommy Fury. I wonder if Jake can get down to that weight anymore. But regardless of Jake's weight, I can't fathom how Tank Davis would be anywhere in the realm of what he would be. Like, it just, he won't even be in earshot of what
Now, with the world's eyes locked on him, Jake Paul is looking past Tank Davis to the Giants. Anthony Joshua is next on his list. The Goliath he swears he'll slay after taking down David. It sounds insane, a middleweight-sized fighter dreaming of toppling a heavyweight king. But that's Jake Paul's entire career. Defy logic, shock the world, and make believers out of doubters one punch at a time. Whether it's madness or genius, he's betting everything that history remembers his name. At the end of it all, one question lingers. Is this fight a smart move for Gervonta Davis, or the most dangerous gamble of his career? In an era where legacy and virality intertwine, this bout could either cement his greatness or redefine it forever.